They get strong, but they have some fun tonight. We're gonna be a castaway. Let the sun shine in. Just like the other one. Rising to the head, don't be a fan. Castaway tonight. We're gonna be a castaway. They get strong, my friend. Some fun tonight. Castaway. People in here from all the world, men, women, little boys, girls, gather around by the seaside, beach party, stop. Diamond head palm tree, surf riders on the sea. This is the place to be. This is the place to be. On the beach in Waikiki. That's where you find me. Your own Saturday. Beach boy. Do something. Do Sunday. Do Sunday. Music playing at the song. Everybody's getting up. Dancing in the sunshine. Sipping on that rosé. Good times will set you free. Oh, this is the place. On the beach at Waikiki. That's where you find me. Here on the south side. Beach boys, it's on Sunday. It's on Sunday. It's on Sunday. Down in the bottom of the sun, just you and me, just you and me, just you and me. Feeling good, feeling right. Sunset is out of sight. Another beautiful white day. Everything's gonna be okay. Let's get together and do it again. Maybe I'll see you here next week. On the beach and Waikiki. That's where you find me. You're on the south side. Beach falls town. Beach on Sunday. Beach on Sunday. Beach on Sunday.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween. Happy Friday. We'll get started here in about 6 minutes. Just putting some final touches on information that we'll use. Hey, team, can you post the YouTube link in the chat as well? And we do have a couple of giveaways today. Get you started, Miss Fay. Thank you. Yeah, we've had a pretty solid sideways pattern on the crude oil for the last couple of days. And it's given us the clue in which direction it wants to take us. And things that we've been watching and observing as far as how to use that base pattern in front of other patterns. So we'll talk about that and a lot more as we get ready to go. So let me give everybody a chance to look over to the prep screen, and we'll get started here in about 4 minutes. All right, let's get this day rocking, okay? Um, get my video going. Good morning, everybody. Let's see, as we get started, want to recognize and say happy Halloween, everybody. Um, yes, we got some serious treats today, some actually pretty good ones. It's like getting a full-size candy bars and in your when people passing them out when you're going trick-or-treating. Okay, so as we get started here, I want to announce that we're going to be giving away three $25,000 dollar evaluation accounts. Okay, compliments from Elite Trader Funding. Okay, we've been working with Elite Trader Funding. They've been a great resource. They've been a great a partner to work with because they really care about the people they work with. They're very responsive. Payouts are awesome, and so on. So we want to thank Elite Trader Funding for that. Um, and if that's not enough, well, here comes the full-size candy bar. And this is for today only. We're doing a Halloween flash sale. And our platinum package, which includes the pre-market prep, live trading room, it includes our community trading room and mastering the charts recap and review, which we do once a week on Wednesdays. Okay. So our platinum package is on sale. Normally it's about $350 a month, but now it's just $499 for a 3-month stretch. Okay. It's a huge sale. It is a flash sale. Okay. And it's good for today only. So make sure that you're on the YouTube chat because those watching YouTube can win in today's giveaway. And if you're in Zoom, you can still join us. Just hop into the YouTube. We did put a link on in our chat room there for you to do that. So the way that you'll be able to engage with us on that is we'll have a couple of quiz questions throughout the session for you to get one of those $25,000 trading accounts. The evaluation, pass the evaluation, and you go right to the funded simulated, okay, which you start making some money on it. Okay. So show your skills. Thank you, Elite Trader Funding. And all right, let's jump right in. We do have quite a few things going on. Okay. Um, and the media has been pretty quiet about a couple of these things. The most of the news stories is about stocks, big tech, so on. Netflix did a 10-for-1 stock split. You want to pay attention to when these are really kind of a change to the whole market structure when we start seeing more and more stock splits coming out. Okay. So Netflix is one of many. Okay. But once we start seeing more stock splits, the market starts getting into bull run. Okay. So last night, monitoring the news around 10 p.m., President Trump came out and initiated the nuclear option, basically called on the Republican Party to initiate the nuclear option to end the filibuster and government shutdown. Basically, the nuclear option is kind of getting blended in with nuclear testing, with two totally different things. The nuclear option is a legislative procedure that allows the Senate to override a standing rule by simply just going a majority vote instead of waiting for 60 votes in order to have the majority. Okay, so the that has not, it's just trickled out there in the news, and my initial reaction is I think they're going to shoot the market up based off of that, but I don't think it's going to hold. Okay. It's kind of like buy the rumors, sell the news. They've already known that the nuclear option was available. Okay. It's just when and where they chose to use it. Okay. So at the bottom down here, it says watch for unscheduled breaking news announcements. You're going to see the different tweets, different things come out. I mean, one side was just looking to go into full-blown chaos with all the different stuff. So there's a lot of distractions outside the market that will directly impact, what people have been preparing for was kind of like they're scared, they're kind of hiding, but now if things do get full blown and they do pass uh, the continuing resolution to open up the government, we need to see how that is going to impact the market. So make sure you have your stop losses in place. Things could get very volatile. As we start looking at the charts and putting some things together, ooh, there goes crude oil. Okay, nice little push to the upside. Now, I do want to help you understand, we've been studying and putting together um, what the reaction out of these base patterns are. Okay. So the base patterns are very critical because the market uses, well, it goes sideways two out of three times, basically 2/3 at a time, and then it trends 1/3 at a time. The information when the markets are balanced and traders are making positions, okay, leads to where we have market reactions. Okay. Now, what we want to also pay close attention to is the first move out of the base. Okay. And we had a move to the upside out of the base. Now, everybody's going to get bullish when they should be preparing to be more to the bearish side. Okay. So looking for when price breaks out to the upside of the channel, you want to look up and left and look for a supply zone. And if there is no supply zone, like on the equity indexes, um, then we have to wait for the next available opportunity. Okay, which means price comes back through the what we call the dead space and then bounces up, or we get momentum. Okay. So it's very important to watch this today, observe it. It's been very profitable for us to help us anticipate the overall trend move. So with that, we got price popping up on crude oil. The crude oil pitch just opened up. So let's go over to the left and let's see. Oh, we got another dead space. Wow, we got a couple of them up here. And these are important areas with the dead space because they simply show you where we have easy price movement. And when you see price coming back through, they go back fast and furious. So it's good profit potential. All right, we just popped right above that one. So there we go. So we'll look for a short opportunity on crude oil. We got about 11 cents risk on that trade. Okay. And because of the structure and location of the base, we got that first move out. So we're anticipating price to come back down and then potentially continue lower. Okay. Now there is risk on every trade, and we're going to make sure that our risk is kept small. I'm going to set this trade up ahead of time. I'm going to set it up now, and I'm going to look for the opportunity to sell short 61.51 and stop loss just above the 61.62. Okay, so that's not too far. Keeping position size small and stop losses in place because of potential market moving news, as we just talked about. Maybe there's going to be a change in the government shutdown. We also saw that today was supposed to be non-farm payrolls, and that information was delayed. Okay, so there's a lot of economic news that when it comes out, it's going to cause some additional volatility. Now, just kind of visualize what could happen going forward. What are some possibilities? Okay. There we go. 2 micro contracts selling short 61.50. Stop loss. I'm going to put it right up there about 61.70. Okay. Now, if I'm stopped out, I may look to re-enter because there could be, that reaction. Now the daily chart is looking kind of bullish here. Okay. I'm not looking for the market just to fall apart. I'm looking for a trade opportunity. Okay. And with these price patterns, the bases, we have seen some very predictable price moves there. Okay. We got natural gas also. Natural gas still trending to the upside. I think there was Japan is also saying, hey, they're going to reduce the amount of natural gas they buy from Russia and start looking at buying U.S. natural gas. So natural gas is in the news quite a bit. Also, back to crude oil, there was some output information that came out earlier as well, as far as increasing some output in production. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out is that a newswire says U.S. has decided to attack Venezuela military sites. U.S. strikes on Venezuela could come at any moment. And the other thing that's really pressing here that I've been monitoring, and it's also been pretty quiet in the news, is New York Fed overnight repo, the repo markets. And I think we mentioned that in our, there it is. Media is also very quiet about the 50 billion borrowed from the repo markets to the regional banks in just the last week. And just reported earlier this morning in the pre-market about an hour ago, Fed overnight repo total highest since facility became permanent. Okay. Now that's telling us that there's something wrong with the regional banks because they're the ones borrowing just to keep their books balanced. There's some underlying big cracks in financial markets. Now, if payments and things like that don't go out on November 1st, the cracks are going to get wider. Play defensive, okay? And that's not just for short-term trading, that's bigger picture. Play defensive right now. Markets are at all-time highs. So as we're moving through gathering information, we have a trade set up on crude oil to sell short. I also have a trade from our prep screen information on soybean meal. Okay. So on soybean meal, I'm looking to sell short just at the session lows. Right now, the agricultural products are closed until the regular session opens at 6:30, or sorry, 9:30 Eastern. Okay. So I'm going to be letting the news scroll over here. We got Fed's Logan, Lori Logan speaking, and so far that's been kind of a non-event. Oh wait, no, she goes, the recent rise in repo rates turn out not to be temporary. Then the Feds would have to start buying the assets. Layoffs and unemployment claims stayed low, though I'm mindful of recent layoff announcements. Interesting. Okay. Either it's there's so many things outside the market that will directly impact how markets will be reacting. Now let's take a look at the markets. Let's make a few adjustments for the new Globex high. I also want to point out that the Asian and part of the London session, which is what we're in now, Asian London going into the New York session, we're sideways basing. Okay. We know that taking two sessions together, getting a sideways base, we can anticipate what the third session will be. Now, it can be a combination of New York and Asian, London, New York, to anticipate what the next session will unveil. Okay. Amazon up $30 in the pre-market. Whoa, all-time new highs for Amazon, Apple, Microsoft getting a little bit recovery off of that. Volume continues to be very light while we're up in nosebleed areas. Okay. So I'm not calling for a bear market. I'm not calling for a crash or anything like that. It's just, hey, there's evidence. Markets are at all-time highs, possibly making new all-time highs again today on light volume. Okay. Very, very kind of scary when that happens. It's called a negative divergence. Price moving up on lighter and lighter volume. Okay. There was also some news out there yesterday about that we posted in our prep screen about the bigger players selling into the up move. Okay, a lot of big sells on the big tech stocks. Okay, all right, Nasdaq and also S&P. Coming back to S&P, we're starting off as an inside day. Now, inside days can be a little choppy at the beginning. This is why we're relying on what was that base pattern right there. If price breaks out to the upside first, often we'll go back through that dead space and continue lower. Okay, so just remember some of the diagrams that I'm sharing with you. I encourage you to go find them. You will have to adjust time frames to get that base. Don't be afraid to adjust the time frames. Okay. It's very important to get the exact picture when you're trying to make a trade decision. And very often these base patterns on higher time frames can get blended in to the price chart. You can't see them. But price travels through these areas very quickly. So they're a very good odds enhancer to anticipate profit margin potential. Okay. Uh, like what we're seeing on gold at the moment. Okay. I took the trade on gold. We had price moving up, came back down to a fair value gap. We got in a couple of contracts. I think we've got 2 micros going right now. Okay. That entry, and then looking over to the left, we have that dead space area. Now, what I'm anticipating is when price gets into that range, is it's going to travel through it, and therefore my profit target is going to be above the dead space. Okay. These are some of the things we talk about in Mastering the Charts, Recap, and Review, and we put those together each week, kind of giving a little deeper dive into how do we use this information. Now, also, you can see on this time frame that I'm sharing right now is where we had the base or the dead space here, price broke to the lower side. Okay. So when price breaks lower first, that's often more bullish price move. Okay. I know it sounds just the opposite. Okay. And this is where we get trapped in taking the breakout trades and thinking somewhat most of the time we stay too long. When you start studying how price leaves the base, okay, and this all sparked from using some of the older teachings from Richard Wyckoff out there. So cool stuff. Okay. But don't take my word for it. I encourage you guys to challenge it, test it. Okay. Find it yourself. But I'm anticipating a stronger move on gold, and I'm anticipating for it to pass through this dead space. Profit target up there about 42.63. I don't think it'll happen in one session, but you never know with the way gold kind of reacts. Okay. Fed's Logan would find it difficult to cut rates in December. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay. That's the same thing Powell was also talking about. We don't have enough numbers, don't have enough information. Shutdown has kind of delayed things. So Powell has also indicated 3 times in his speech or his um, the conference call about the possibility of uh, a pause in rate cuts. All right, so real quickly from Financial Juice, we can see that the market open order imbalance, okay, is on the negative side for the Mag 7. initially. We'll see how this plays out as the session we get closer to the open. Okay. All right, so excuse me. We don't have a lot of trades right now. The overnight range on the equity indexes was very, very small. Okay. Now, a narrow overnight range, Globex range, compare it to the daily ATR. Okay. Globex range compared to the daily ATR. Oh, thanks for the question, Candlestick. Oh, good morning, Liz. Did you got your witch hat on? Liz and I have been trading together for several years, and every Halloween she has her witch's hat on, and you'll have to post a picture in our Discord for us. All right, I'll answer that question in just a moment. Candlestick shenanigans. Okay. A narrow overnight range often implies that there's going to be a kind of a bigger trending market condition. So what does a narrow range mean? Globex range compared to the ATR for the daily ATR. If that Globex range is between 0 and 40%, okay, that's a narrow range. If the Globex range compared to the daily ATR is between about 40 and 70%, we often see much more choppy market conditions, and on an inside day, the better trades are taken a little bit later. Okay. And if it's a wide Globex range, we look for the bull trap and the bear trap. Okay. So using the Globex range and comparing it to the daily ATR to help us anticipate what to expect at the open and throughout the session. Okay. So inside days are often a little bit more choppy. Okay. So this is why I'm sharing information a little bit instead of just jumping into trades. We need to see some confirmation. The light volume is also inviting some potential volatility. Okay. The potential unexpected news announcements also, since some of the data is delayed, non-farm payrolls generally would have a pretty big reaction. And since nothing came out, okay, and we have another Fed speaker coming up a little bit later. Okay. NASDAQ also a very narrow overnight range. Okay. Inside day. Now, to help with direction, potential price movement, okay, is that when we have an inside day where price is currently trading inside the prior session's range, we often feel that 5 p.m. gap the same day. So one direction could be that price comes down and fills that gap. Now, that doesn't mean there's a trade. It's just an observation that we've seen over the years that when we start off as an inside day, light volume, markets tend to be a little bit more volatile, choppy. Breakout trades often fail. Okay. So it helps us position ourselves and our mindset by knowing the Globex range compared to the daily ATR, and also whether we're inside or outside the prior session's trading range. Okay. To help us and say, oh, hey, you know what? Slow down, ease up. Let's look for things that are, we got to let the indexes, settle out a little bit. Now, also another thing on inside days is we look for the zone entries only until we break out of the range. Okay. And the better trade opportunities tend to come between 10:30 and 11 a.m. Eastern, once the banks and institutions have completed their order flow. Okay. And right now, in the overnight session, Asian session mostly, and part of the London session, the market was very, very quiet after those presidential tweets that came out around 10 p.m. last night. Okay. Another view of what that Asian and part of the London session was on the Dow. Okay. Now for the Dow, the initial break was to the downside, found a little bit of demand and pushed back up through that. Notice how price moves through that what we call the dead space. Okay. And possibly if we connect all of them, it just made another wider range. Now, what I consider resistance and support, and what we consider here at the market institution, is that we consider that resistance is minimum 3 touches of resistance. Okay. Prices traded up 3 times. Okay. And support, minimum time price hits. Okay. So when we come to trend lines, 2 points identify the trend and 3 points confirm a trend. So again, using support and resistance, minimum 3 touches of resistance and 3 touches of support, kind of finding that range there. Okay, so back to crude oil. We're still waiting, 61.51 as a potential trade going short based on the structure and pattern. Daily chart has me making sure that I have my stop loss in place because this looks more to the bullish side. Okay, so it's a short-term trade. Okay. We also have a trade set up on soybean meal, and soybean meal will take the break of the low 313, 313 flat. I'll take the break down out of this since price already come back up and tested that fair value gap. Another counter trend trade. Okay. But after a strong move up, we look for some of those cracks. And this is an early test of that. Okay. We also have working is gold, and we're looking for gold to move through the dead space, but that might take some announcements coming out. Okay. I think we're long on Bitcoin as well, as I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, Candlestick Shenanigans had a question over here. Do you use trailing stops? And I do occasionally. Okay. When I'm trading in the overnight session, like gold and things like that, and I might nod off or go do something else, have dinner. A trailing stop has been very helpful. Okay. We've also started to initiate and use the fair value gap to adjust stop losses. Okay. And that's also been very helpful. Once you get into the trade, a new fair value gap is created and then retouched. Once it's retouched and starts moving up, you can adjust based on using that momentum. Okay, great question. Okay, so let's see. I got 2 minutes before everything breaks loose here. You guys want to do the first giveaway? We got 2 minutes. Let me come up with the first question. Now, whoever types the question in first, the team is watching the YouTube. Okay. These are 3 $25,000 accounts. I'll have 3 different questions throughout the session. First question is, what is the main focus of the market institution? What's our main focus? A, teaching basic stock investing for beginners. B, providing trading signals for retail traders. C, educating traders to understand market structure and institutional behaviors. Or D, offering automated trading bots. So what is our main focus? A, teaching basic stocks. B, providing trade signals. C, education traders to understand market structure and institutional behavior. Or D, offering automated trading bots. Type your question, and I'll have another couple of giveaways a little bit later. Okay. All right. Equity indexes. are kind of quiet right now. Russell breaking to the downside. Abdallah got it. Nice job, Abdallah. All right, now the base is very important. What did the Russell do? Did it break to the upside or break to the downside? Okay, so what should we expect if price breaks to the downside first? Look to the left, find a demand zone. If there's no demand zone, then we have to wait for price to confirm and change direction. Okay. So let's come back out to our Russell page. And this actually breaking to the downside is on the bullish side. Okay. May look bearish, but we kind of get that head fake there. All right, so I don't have any good zones till much lower. Russell is also now an outside day. And it's now pushing right back up. Boom. Yeah, didn't have any intersection with a demand zone here. Okay. So if there's no entry, we just have to wait for that right picture for the entry. Okay. Oh, did we? Looks like on a smaller time frame we did it. And now keep in mind, okay, price broke to the downside first. Okay. So what does that mean for the overall structure? Okay. We may see price move back up. We could get a shallow retracement. We could get a retracement all the way back down before continuing trend. Okay. The base patterns are very important study. Okay. Most people, I don't like a sideways market, but a sideways market, low volatility leads to high volatility. Okay. Dow, quiet.
Build.
Where did we get into? All right. Little fluctuation on gold. Crude. Hang it out. See, net gas, Globex range compared to the daily ATR are right about that 50%. When the Globex range compared to the daily ATR is right around that 50% range, between 40 and 70 parameters I use, often it's very choppy open. Do your own observation from that. But if you want to know when not to trade natural gas, it's usually when we're expecting choppier markets. Okay. So how do you know when choppier markets? Well, you observe. Okay. Okay, so on the S&P from the overnight session, the initial breakout was to the upside. Okay. So but coming back to our template, what happens when the initial move is to the upside? It kind of changes the market sentiment to more bearish. Price just traveled through that dead space. We're looking for a bounce and then a lower high. I also want to instruct you that when you have that dead space area, there is no entries inside the dead space. They often fail. Okay, so if you have a leg base, if you have a picture and price come back inside that dead space area, wait till it gets on the upper side or the lower side in order to initiate the trade. Inside that dead space area, trades are often not as productive. Okay. Looks like markets are pretty quiet. Let's take a look at all the indexes here. And the mixed market. The YM is still quiet. Hasn't broke out of the range. Russell did break out to the downside, leaning more to a bullish move. Okay. Yeah, let's come over to the Russell. We might be able to participate in that one. Looks like I've missed it here. Yes, Abdallah, I did post a lot of those on our Discord. It's kind of that map. And I included in our Discord room a couple of the examples of trades that we took on there. Some pretty cool, stuff. I've been sharing, I'm not sure why our Discord is. Team, can you check? Oh, there it comes up. Yeah, bringing up our Discord room. These are, I've been putting up a series of little lessons in there, okay, and how to use that. One thing that I tripped on yesterday is that, I was looking for the opportunity to go long, and then I kind of realized, this is just a pivot point. In order to make a good solid demand zone inside the buy territory, I needed this picture, and all I had was I didn't have that picture. Okay. So when I don't have price dropping into a demand zone with the buy territory, okay, it's not just a group of candles by itself. There's additional pieces of information. Now, price could still turn out of that area, but then I have to wait for this type of a momentum change. Okay. So there's some pretty cool stuff I've been posting in there. So you guys can go out to the Discord room, see the whole map, so you realize where you're at. And this is a good example that it's not just leg base, it's in the right area. Okay. And yeah, these type of formations right here, Richard Wyckoff. Okay. Richard Wyckoff put that, he's been around, well, he's passed now, but anyway, let's come back. I don't think I'm going to have a good entry on the Russell, even drop down to 1 minute chart. I hear Chris in the background go, hit the button, hit the button. No, not hitting the button just yet. And yeah, things are going to get a little bearish here. We're starting to see on the S&P and on the NASDAQ, starting to see price. We broke out to the upside of the base. Okay, therefore we're looking at more of the price movement down, and either we're going to have an opportunity to short below the base, or we're going to have an opportunity to short above it. Okay, but the base is just kind of that flag waving up in the air there, saying, hey, focus on whether you're going to get a short entry at this point on these smaller time frames. Okay. Now, Russell on the tick chart has given us a little better picture. And we did have the fair value gap. So might be able to get into Russell off of this. Okay. Notice how price moved up. We got that leg candle. Price has retested it. I'm going to wait for a little more confirmation until we get the other indexes deciding. Okay, but Russell seems to be by itself right now. Okay. NASDAQ, we do have a fair value gap back up on top. Okay, so this is where I'd like to take a short trade up in this range. Once price clears this level where it looks like we're starting to form another one. And as we look over to the left, notice that we have this dead space area. So if price starts to go down, it's going to accelerate through this range, making that 925, or sorry, that 913, 898 level in place. Okay. Price is retested. I'm going to take a shot at this for the short. Okay. Stop loss will be at 163, 2 micros.
Order filled.
Well, I'm a little late. Okay, stop loss 163. I'm gonna go up a little bit fine. I've got $100 risk on this trade. Okay. Always important to recognize what the potential risk is on here. Now I do anticipate price to accelerate going through this range. Apple is. Now don't forget about what led us to this trade and the trade direction. Okay. It was the base. The break above the base indicated that, hey, you know, price will have to go through. We find a short-term bounce, okay, and then accelerate and go down, or price is going to come all the way back up here. So you can determine what the risk would be for each trade and then participate in it, okay? Looking down into the left and then using that dead space area, okay? We anticipate, look how fast price traveled through that dead space. I'm expecting a similar price move back through it. We're going to look for buyers down below. And maybe we'll be able to hit the reverse button down there. Okay. Right now I have $100 worth of risk on the trade, trading 2 micros. We've got about a 0.5 to 1 at this point. For those traders using the 15-minute charts, the open range breakout, probably just broke the, well, we're not in the first 15 minutes yet. Okay. So don't have that. There we go. Yeah. Big 15-minute range. Music for all, but there are news in 4 minutes. No problem about entering the short. Remember, every trade is going to take risk. Okay. The picture on the price chart, you know, like trade the picture on the chart. I mean, you can wait for the news. Okay. And that's always an option. Okay. What news do we have coming out? Sorry, let me come back to it. We have Chicago PMI. Now, have the economic reports been delayed due to the shutdown? Have they formally come back and done the vote? Yeah, so it's possible the Chicago PMI number may be delayed as well. I don't know which ones are being delayed. Okay. Remember, one of the structures that we were looking at was that base pattern, the break to the upside, kind of gave me the clue, look for the downside move. Okay. So there may be a second opportunity to get in that short if price bounces back up into that range. But let's see how it plays out. See, what we do know is here in this range here, what we call the dead space, is most of the institutional orders have been filled. So price should easily go through this area. Looking over at the stocks, are the stocks showing really bullish price moves? Or are they still kind of lingering towards the lows? Okay. Now, if the stocks were ripping to the upside, I'd be ready to hit the button to get out. Okay. But the stocks are really not showing a whole lot of strength at this time. They showed a gap up, and it looks like there might be some profit taking coming into play. Since futures are a derivative instrument, they derive their price from the underlying stocks. Okay, this is why I monitor the large market cap weighted stocks on the NASDAQ to help me determine if I want to keep sitting through this, take my little monies and get out, or add on if price retest that area. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got going on the S&P. S&P just came back down. Let's see what we have here. S&P getting a bounce back up. Again, S&P also broke to the upside. So we're going to have a place where we're going to look for up on top. Where we'll look for a short. Or just below. Now notice if you extend price here, I don't want to take any trades short or long inside that dead space. So I need to look for where we might have the potential of price bouncing up and making a lower high and then following through to come back down and find some buyers. So with the base or the dead space, okay, we kind of look at the template and say, hey, my initial move was to the upside. It did not go into supply. Oh, thank you, Sean. Let me go back over to that. We zoom in a little bit on the Russell, on the 500 tick. There's a dead space, okay? Yeah. See, right now, Russell is inside that dead space, has not violated the stop loss. And it's pushing back up above it. So let's see where it could come into play. And the Dow hasn't shown us anything yet. Okay. NASDAQ continues to work. Stocks are not showing a lot of bullish life signs right now. No Trump tweets yet. He's got to monitor that news because right now the markets are pretty fragile. Okay. They could react either direction at the moment. Okay, and it has a lot to do with whether the shutdown continues or they break it. Okay. Now you did give the order last night to take out the filibuster, but I don't know how the market's going to react to that. So I need to keep my position size small. Okay, for the potential reaction. Okay. And I need to have a stop loss in place. S&P, your first initial test below the debt space. Those prices coming up into that range right there. Okay, you assess the risk and see if it fits within your trading plan. Okay. Okay, price hitting that.
Order filled.
2 micros, stop loss. It's going to be right about 68.94. But 2 micros, we got about $60 risk on that trade. We've got 2 places. Either we're going to have a place up here, take a trade short, or you can take a trade short below this dead space. Depending on your risk tolerance and what you're willing to participate in. Okay. Again, every trade takes risk. We could be looking, if we do get a strong move out of that, okay, for example, price drops and gives us a little quick little hook, we could be looking at something like that. Currently, I'm just anticipating that my stop loss is in place. I'm measured up against the breakout, and we'll see if this is going to be some momentum movement. Okay. Profit target 68.69 for target 1. The next one to be 68.54. Maybe some little help from the NASDAQ. No, NASDAQ being pretty quiet. What else we have coming out shortly here? We're top of the hour. Nothing coming out until the Fed comes out. Okay. Another Fed speaker, excuse me. All right, what do we got going on gold other than just sideways? Nat gas. Crude oil. All right, crude's making its way up. And we're still waiting on soybean meal. Swiss franc coming down to a zone. Japanese yen is in the zone. Canadian dollar approaching the demand zone. And the euro. So what we're going to need to monitor is what happens with the US dollar if it starts to turn. We're already getting some weakness on the 10 and the 2-year yield, which may impact the dollar in about 6 minutes. We'll look for that 10 o'clock reversal. Thank you, Kevin, for posting that. Are you guys finding this educational along with trading? I like to show people how things work, okay, and how things are being put together. You know, you can watch a lot of traders that have some fantastic trades and good experience, but if they don't explain themselves, then the student never learns, okay? And sometimes you need those little details, okay? Again, coming back to the question we asked earlier for the The quiz question, was, what's our main focus? Okay, is educating traders to understand market structure and institutional trading behavior. Okay. That was a good question, team. All right, so we got about a couple minutes before the top of the hour. You guys ready to do the second giveaway? $25,000 Elite Trader Funding evaluation account. Okay, pass the evaluation and then start making money for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the second question while we're letting this trade work. Let's see. Next up, this one should be easy if you've been paying attention to our session. Which trading concept or tool is Jeff Manson's known for teaching? A, Rose, revenge or suicide event strategy. B, leg base concept. C, moving average crossover. Or D, the Ichimoku cloud analysis. Ichimoku. So which trading concept do I lean on? A, revenge or suicide event strategy. Rose. I haven't heard of that one. Leg base concept, moving average crossover, or the Ichimoku cloud. So type your answer in that, A, B, C, or D. And first one that does that will get the next $25,000 Elite Trader Funding account, the evaluation account, let me be specific. All right, we're doing pretty good on just 2 micros. We've gotten, we had $100 risk, so we just passed the $200 mark. We got a 2-to-1 success on that one. Okay. Now, what we want to observe here is how price goes through this area here. Okay. And we're 3 minutes before the 10 o'clock reversal. Okay. Often price changes direction around 10 o'clock, plus or minus a minute or two. Okay. We don't have any economic reports coming out, and I don't see any tweets coming out just yet. All right, good job. Music for all. You got the next, that's that one. Okay. Make sure you kind of watch what the team's asking for so we can get that to you right away. We do have one more question. I'll do it towards the end. Okay. So we want to see the price goes through this, what we call the dead space. And that's just basically an area where we see that most of the orders have been filled. Okay. Looking for easy price movement through that. Okay. No demand or supply zones inside the dead space should be taken. We started off this session by recognizing the base pattern and the reaction from the base. It went up first, and we used that template. If it went up first, then what do we expect? Well, it's got to go through the dead space, which it already did up here. Either get a quick retracement back up using fair value gap as far as momentum trade. Okay. Kind of cool. I mean, you're starting to see how the picture evolves. Now, if you're nervous about that and you want to take profit, that's perfectly okay. I'm letting my trade play out so you can see the benefit of learning to trust your setups. Okay. You always have to remind yourself and say it out loud. What is the risk on this trade? Okay, if I'm using 2 micros, 10 micros, 100 micros, what's my risk? Okay, say it out loud and verbalize it because once you start showing green on your P&L, that whole opinion changes. So we still have $100 worth of risk on this trade, but a potential large reward because we have no obstacles in the way should price break lower at this point. S&P doing the same thing. Remember the template. Price broke out first. It actually is gaining momentum on the S&P because the entry was below the dead space. So a shallow retracement. One of the things that we teach about with the Fibonacci ratios is when we get a shallow retracement, a 23.6, that's often associated with momentum. And we can take this measurement here and then anticipate where the next potential price movement can go. Now, 85% of the time you'll get to that first target. 40% of the time you'll get to the second one. Okay. We just passed the 10 o'clock hour, no real big event. Okay. Still waiting on crude oil. Gold is quiet. Does it feel like the markets are unusually quiet? Yeah. Exchange traded funds. Let's see what else we have. So we're starting to see, we did see the 10 and the 2-year yield start to go lower. And at that time, we did see a small bounce on the FX markets. Okay. I don't have a trade entry just yet. I'm waiting for a little bit of little more confirmation on that. With the 10 and the 2-year yield getting a small retracement, we're also seeing a bounce off of the demand zones for the 30-year, 10-year, and 5-year bonds and notes. Stepping out to the larger time frame, the NQ 60-minute chart, we still got about an hour before that next candle completes, but the possibility of creating a fair value gap area. Okay, we got to let that candle complete before we can make that decision. Same with the S&P. For the S&P, we have $60 risk to our stop loss. And for the NASDAQ, we had $100 risk. Looking for a potential demand zone. First target.
Build.
68, 69. And second target 68.54. Right now we've got a 1-to-1 trade. Some traders just like taking 1-to-1s. All right, here we go. How's the NQ doing? There we go. Okay. Price should go through this range. We call it the dead space. Come on, fast movement. We want to see it just rip right through it. Target we're looking for on the NQ is 25,913. And we're also looking for some additional fair value gap areas to present themselves. As long as these continue to hold, like right now, we're creating one and we're just retesting it right now. Okay. So any traders taking that fair value gap would be looking to take a trade short at this point, placing their stop above or up about that 26,085. Okay. Price breaking lower inside this dead space, a trader could adjust your stop loss, lock in a profit. Okay. Looking over at the stocks are not rebounding up very quickly. Been a pretty good week for these markets. And the markets have been going up very strong while the government shutdown has been underway. So what would that mean when it restarts? Would it continue to go up, or would we be looking at a potential reversal? Get Russell. Look at Russell. Okay, well, this is actually a really good example. Okay. So when we had the base forming, the price broke lower first. Okay. And right now, as we open this up, looks like the Russell might be gaining some momentum to the upside. When you're dealing with momentum and you're trying to find a way to apply a trade, okay? Now, most of the time I'm showing you pictures on the price chart, okay? But what traders don't understand, or what newer traders don't understand, is the pictures don't make the trade. The pictures are information, okay? You still have to apply the trade and apply your risk management based on your trading rules, okay? So when we're looking at this, the template per se, on the Russell, the first move was to the downside. Okay, price broke down and now we're back up. Okay, now there's a couple things going to happen. Either we're going to get that shallow retracement, which we're already demonstrating right here, and then we'll continue with the trend. Okay, back to the upside. Okay, or price will come back down. We don't have any demand zone down here. Okay, down. Good old Dow doing a lot of nothing. Okay. My stop loss is still in place up on top. I haven't adjusted it. I want to let this work out. S&P. Anybody participate in these trades? I hope you're picking up some good information though. So many times over my many years of experience in the market is I just downplayed the sideways markets. And recently, just kind of putting some things together, the sideways choppy markets should be in front of a demand zone or it should be in front of a supply zone, trade opportunity. The market goes sideways 2 out of 3 times or 2/3 of the time, while the trends happen 1/3. So when we start looking at the sideways markets, what do they lead into? And what little subtleties can we pick up off of that? Okay. So the sideways markets, a breakdown first out of there or a break up is that first signal of what the overall direction or price movement we should look for. Okay, again, these are templates to observe and go out and find 100 picture perfect past trade setups for you to participate in. Okay, remember, we learn the patterns and shapes first, then we learn how to apply a trade to those patterns that will allow us to manage risk based on our own trading plan. Okay. Other things that would come into that would be time of day, information outside the price chart, and things that we also teach as far as a pre-market routine and putting things together. Okay. Sitting through all of this without having a view of the bigger picture or even trying to trade inside of this stuff is extremely emotional. Okay. But I will be the first to say it takes time to train your eyes, verify the information, and then apply it. Okay. So don't jump right into, I mean, a lot of you have some pretty good experience in the market, so, but don't let that ego drive you to make those trades. Okay. Realize that if it's a picture you've probably seen thousands of times, but you've never applied a trade to it. And this is why Elite Trader Funding, a proprietary trading firm, can be very, very helpful. So you're not wasting or using your personal capital, and you're using a prop firm capital to help you work through the application and money management, trade management. Wow. The equity indexes are pretty tough right now, but we do have some trades in the right direction. Picked up a couple of nuggets, been able to assess profit margin potential a little bit better by using the dead space. Now, in a perfect world, over the next 15 minutes, I'd like to see a price play out to find the buyers. Then we'll look for the opportunity for taking the trade back up. Remember, we're in a larger picture uptrend. This is more of a counter trend on the smaller time frames. Okay. Come on, go down, go down. And let's take a moment here. Let's go over to the S&P and look at the Dow 30 stocks here. Let's see, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Dow stocks that are over 94 cents positive. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 negative. So 11 negative, 8 positive leaves us a net -3. Okay. -3 times 2 equals 6 negative, which would be a value of cash. Cash equals -6. Futures are trading at +24. futures are overbought relative to cash. Well, that helps support the short move, and we're looking for cash and futures to balance out. Okay. Then price would have to come down to do that at this point. As we mentioned before, we're still an inside day. We're looking for zone entries only, not breakout trades. Okay. Price did fill the gap the same trading session. Okay. These are things we mentioned earlier in our live trading room here, doing a live stream, talking about different characteristics, Globex range compared to the daily ATR. Look for a bigger move today. Be patient, let it work out. We also talked about the inside day. Things could be a little more choppy until about 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern, once the banks and institutions complete their order flow. Okay. We often see a gap fill when price is in an inside day. We got that. So these become reaffirming pieces of information that if you track them and document them each trading day, you bring them into your decision-making process. Okay. And it helps you make a choice. Do you want to accept the risk or do you not? Okay. Looks like we're getting a good sized bounce. Our stop loss is still in place. And I still have $100 risk on this S&P trade. But futures are overbought relative to cash, which is helping support the move. Okay. We got Apple bouncing up while NVIDIA is going lower. Okay. And using the two large market cap weighted stocks, you could use NVIDIA and what's the other one? Oh, NVIDIA and Microsoft, or you could use NVIDIA and Apple. But one is up, one is down. That's a choppy market. Okay. Inside day, choppier market. It's got to be a little more patient. Got to let things work. The narrow overnight trading range implies that there's going to be a good trend today, sometime. We just you never know when that's going to start. Tesla's got a strong move. Amazon's trading kind of quiet. Crude's not coming our way real quick. But we also, heating oil got a strong little drop there. And we're still waiting on gold. Remember, we've just been talking about that dead space, and for gold, we could be looking at a breakout above 4,058 area going into that dead space, and we didn't look for price to travel through that. and back up to a cell territory or a zone within a cell territory. Russell continues to move up just as we were talking about. And I'm not liking this too much on the S&P. We're going sideways. And same on the NQ. And of course, on the tick chart over here with the Dow, the range continues. All right, as we're approaching the end of our session here, which we end at the bottom of the hour, I'm not looking for a bounce until we get down to demand to answer the question on the NQ. Price did not come into a demand zone. You're getting some consolidation, and there's always the possibility of fresh accumulation of buy orders is coming in, but that takes time to build. Okay. The demand is back at the origin of the strong move up. Okay, so I'm still waiting for demand to come into play down at 25,913 and just waiting for that price to get down to that level. Okay. These are great questions, and I encourage you all to, keep asking questions throughout the session. Because again, our main focus here at the Market Institution is to teach and help you train the eyes to see these things, also demonstrate based on our teaching what to look for. Okay. And also, as we started off the session, I want to remind you that that we're having that flash sale. Okay. And team, if you can repost that in the YouTube chat, what that sale is, you can get 3 months of working with us, live trading room and our community room and mastering the charts recap and review, where we review and go into some deeper lessons and kind of work together each week. Okay. So it's a really good flash sale price. And that's our platinum package there. Okay. Let's see. And I do, as a teacher, and what we do here at the Market Institution, you don't have to hold your questions. You can ask questions along the way. You can, it's okay. It's our main focus is to help you guys see the picture better, get your accounts funded, get some additional monies coming in. And speaking of that, we have one more quiz question for our last giveaway. Okay, from Elite Trader Funding. Our final question for today, 25,000 evaluation account. Which of the following is one of Market Institution program or sessions? A, Mastering the Charts. B, Crypto Swing Trading 101. C, Option Hedging Strategy. Or D, Price Action for Beginners. Which of the following is the Market Institution program or sessions? Mastering the Charts, A, Crypto Swing Trading, B, C, Options Hedging, or D, Price Action for Beginners. Type your answer in there, and that'll be the last giveaway that we have for today's session. Each Friday, Elite Trader Funding does provide us with some of these evaluation accounts, and I think everybody should get involved and have one of those type of accounts trading in the background for them to make some additional income. Okay. Plus, passing the evaluation really helps you strengthen your trade plan. There are some rules and guidelines. You do need to read through the information so you understand the rules. If you need some help, just reach out. We'll help you with that. Okay. there's a couple of scenarios, as we watch this. Either price is going to come back up to a supply, okay, or price is going to go down to demand. Those are two places to have a trade. Or there's going to be a fresh accumulation of orders being formed. Do you know what a fresh accumulation of orders looks like? Okay. Often it starts off with what we use as our 5-step process. We look for resistance, 3 touches of resistance minimum. Okay. We want to find out where the sellers are coming in, pushing price down. Okay. Now, if I had 3 touches down here, this one looks like a double bottom potential. Okay. But if I had 3 touches, that would be back to a dead space or a zone. Okay. So once you have your resistance identified, price breaking above the resistance, then you would have a buy territory. Well, that's what we're talking about here. The question is, if price should go through the dead space easily, then why is it bouncing? Okay. Well, it's bouncing because there are some buyers supporting price. Okay. Now, is there a lot of buyers here, or are the real ones down below? Okay. So price should, and I'm anticipating it, to go through the dead space. Okay. But will it go up first before it comes back down? Okay. Or will it go down first before it comes back up? Or will there be a fresh accumulation of orders, new traders coming in to support price? See, maybe they're already saying, you know what? They haven't made the news really available right now that I don't see any headlines out there. I'm watching where they exercise that nuclear option to end the government shutdown before everybody misses some payments. Okay. If all those folks miss payments on the 1st of November, nobody's getting paid. No, there's mortgages and auto payments and credit card payments and stuff like that. How is that going to impact the bank with a big void of non-payments? Okay. So you can see that the pressure is on for them to break the filibuster. And those are some of the things we pointed out. President Trump last night said, hey, I want you guys to fix this. Use the nuclear option. Go with a majority vote. We don't need to get 60 votes. Okay. And that is an option they can exercise. But it needs to be carefully thought out by them and how they're going to plan it. So there may be some planning behind the scenes where banks and institutions are also speculating. And would that be good news that the government's back up and running? Well, for a lot of folks, yes. Okay. It would be tremendous news for banks and institutions because what we just talked about, the repo market is at the highest borrowing rate since it was put together. And they were running out of money earlier. And the regional banks are bracing for a big impact. They borrowed 50 billion to offset risk. Okay, so there's a lot of things coming out. Okay. So the sideways basing is also part of what's going on outside the price chart. Okay. If they're thinking something bullish is going to happen, they got to build a fresh accumulation of orders. Okay. And this is what we have to keep in mind is that price either goes into supply or into demand where we have trade opportunities, or a fresh accumulation of orders has to be built, which is the sideways markets back and forth, okay, before we can make another decision. So the more that we hang out together, the more that we trade together, the more I can give you that information to help you make better trades, okay, more informed trades, okay. Now, my expectations may be different than your expectations of the news and things outside the price chart going on. And that's perfectly fine. That's what makes a market. We also have the ability to express that with each other in our live trading room and in our community rooms as we share and teach and so on. Okay. So great questions. Okay, so as we wrap up, okay, in closing, our team will drop your names in the chat shortly. Congratulate everyone who won a $25,000 evaluation account from Elite Trader Funding, and a huge, huge thanks for Elite Trader Funding for sponsoring some of that for us. Our Halloween flash sale, keep in mind, you can the platinum package, which is usually about $300 a month, is you can get 3 months for now $4.99. Okay, that's today only. Team, can you pass the link in the YouTube or even in the chat for people that want to take advantage of that? Let's see. Before you go, please like and share. If you guys like the video, if you like the information being shared and that we're working with today, uh, please like and share. All right, everybody have a wonderful Friday. If you want to join us over in our Discord room, please feel free to do that. That's where I'm going to go hang out and finish doing some trading. Okay. Have a great Friday, great Halloween, everybody, and be prepared for some volatile news to come out. Have a great day, everybody. Bye now.